Good morning, Sunday Assembly, Los Angeles. We are live streaming, I think. I hope. Yes, we are. So shout out to our friends around London, Australia, and wherever else that are joining us via the YouTubes. I'd like to welcome my partner, emceeing for the first time today.
Woo! Hi, live stream.
Sure, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Cole Marie Rivera. We are a God-free community that celebrates a worldview grounded in evidence and reason. We invite everyone to join us as we do our best to live better, help often, and wonder more. Woo. Yeah. Before we get rolling, we just want to remind you that immediately following the program, we're going to be having our Sunday assembly line. It's our in-house service project. Thanks to everyone who donated to that. We will be assembling homeless care kits today. Even if you didn't donate, you want to join us, please stick around. We're going to have a whole assembly line. It's pretty fun. We've done it before.
And it's family friendly.
Family friendly. So now we're going to get going, get this assembly started with some great music.
So I'd like to invite Voices of Reason. They are an a cappella choir supported by Atheists United and making an encore appearance here at Sunday Assembly. You'll probably recognize this first melody from all those Christmas concerts you went to as a kid, but we hope that you'll enjoy their unique twist on this old familiar tune. And then they'll stay up for a second song that we hope that you will jump up and join them for.
Evolution, 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 evolution. Evolution, evolution. Nature brings gradual readjustments, adaptations and adjustments, adaptations and adjustments. Nature brings gradual readjustments, adaptations and adjustments, adaptations and adjustments. Nature brings gradual only the strong survive. We die out. Only the strong survive. The weak die out. The weak die out. And those that last are known as the fittest. And those that the fittest, the fittest. And those that last, and those that last, are known as the fittest, the fittest, the fittest, the fittest. And those that last are known as the fittest. Natural survival of the fittest, survival of the fittest. Selection. Survival of the fittest, survival of the fittest. Earth is old. It's billions and billions, survival of the fittest. As Darwin taught. Survival, survival of the fittest, of the fittest. Species grow. Some species may grow, some species may go. Species grow, and species go. And we can learn, and we can learn, and we can learn, from the past. We evolve forever and ever. The world revolves forever and ever. And we can learn about the future from the
Hi, friends. Oh, gosh, sorry. Hi, friends. We're Voices of Reason. We're so glad to be here again. Thank you so much for welcoming us back, Cindy Assembly. Our next song, we hope you will stand and join us. It's, if you're my age, around, or younger, or even older, you may know it. And we are here to do our best, and one of the best places to start doing our best is at home. So please join us with this song.
And you, of the tender years, can't know the fears that your elders grew by, and so please help them with your youth. They seek the truth before they can die. Teach your parents well. The children's hell will slowly go by, and leave them on your dreams. The one they pick, the one you'll know by. Don't you ever ask them why? If they told you, you would cry. So just look at them and sigh.
That's better. So, thanks to Voices of Reason, we really appreciate all of that and getting everybody up and moving.
But now it's time to get to one of my favorite parts of the assembly, and my first time announcing it, so milestone. The milestones. We collected these as you signed in and want to share with them everyone now.
We've got a richness of milestones to share today. So to begin with, Dave Egan is finally out of the house after a 10-day bout of pneumonia.
He picked a sunny day. It's beautiful. Terry will be a guest on the Ardent Atheist podcast on Wednesday. Just me.
Ashley had a birthday March 31st. Happy birthday, Ashley.
Happy birthday. April is a big month for the Wagoner family. Matt and Monica celebrate their 14th anniversary on April 20th. And Raphael has an Earth Day birthday, and he turns 8 on April 22nd. Woo-hoo!
Sarah would like to share that she finally saw her woman crush on Wednesday, Jennifer Lopez.
I have so many questions. Dave's birthday is Davey's birthday is April 18th. He turns 4 years old.
Coming up on Friday, April 29th, the executive director of the Secular Student Alliance will be at a reception at Terry Smith's house. Everyone's invited to attend. You know Terry from when you signed in at the name tag table, so ask her for any details. Oh, there she is, right over at the side of the room, so ask Terry for any details.
Another birthday. Oliver will be turning 8 years old on April 28th. Happy birthday.
More birthdays. Last Monday, April 4th, was Cole's birthday.
Oh, thank you. What a coincidence. There's a special day on April 4th. You may know volunteer extraordinaire Margot Page. It just happens to have been her 29th wedding anniversary.
And if you think that's an amazing coincidence, it was my 29th wedding anniversary as well. All right, so now it's time for LA Kids to convene in the kids' room across the driveway. So anyone who wants to participate can take their kids to meet one of our caregivers in the lobby and rejoin them back here once they've settled. We love having kids and families here at Sunday Assembly, and we offer this as a service and a courtesy to you. So you are welcome to make use of the childcare or keep your kids here with us, whichever's more comfortable for you.
Sure. Our item drive this month was Baby to Baby. Thanks to everyone who helped collect those items. Next month, we're going to be collecting dry food items for our ongoing drive for the West Side Food Bank, so bring those in for next month. It'll be helping to combat food insecurity and hunger in Los Angeles.
All right, so now it's time to get to know your neighbors. We're going to take a few moments to let you find someone, hopefully somebody you don't know, and introduce yourself. In a few minutes, we're going to hear the words of a child who was incredibly brave and stood up to authority for what she knew was right. So for this icebreaker, what we want you to do is share with your neighbor a time that you demonstrated some courage and stood up for something or somebody that you knew was right. How you were a rebel with the cause, which is today's theme. And it might look something like this. So Cole, could you tell us about a time that you were particularly brave or courageous?
Sure, I would love to. I also want to encourage people in the live stream, sorry, and I'm going off script, to share within the chat if you'd like. I normally chat with you. Hi. So I think Ian's talking about this time. I was a kid. I was 14. That's a kid. And I was a weirdo. I was reading a lot of Freud and psychology textbooks. And I had a friend who was cutting herself. She was cutting her wrists. And I remember at the time it was a real quandary for me because, I don't think she wanted to hurt herself. I don't think she wanted to commit suicide, but I was really worried that she was going to accidentally hurt herself, and so I told her mom, and I was ousted from the friend group for the rest of high school. But I lived with myself really well, and she was okay, and so I felt really good about that decision.
So go ahead, find a neighbor, and take a few minutes to share something that you've been courageous or rebellious or brave about, and we'll let you know when it's time to come back.
Okay. You might have seen this next volunteer snapping photos behind the scenes. Please welcome our youngest volunteer, Sophia Swallow, who's reading an excerpt from Malala Yousafzai, that's really hard for me, Nobel Prize acceptance speech. Welcome, Sophia.
I tell my story not because it is unique, but because it is not. It is the story of many girls. Today I tell their stories too. I am Malala, but I am also Shazia, I am Kainat, I am Kainat Sumru, I am Mezan, and I am Amina. I am the 66 million girls who are deprived of education. And today I am not raising my voice, it is the voice of those 66 million girls. Sometimes people like to ask me, why should girls go to school? Why should girls go to school? Why is it important for them? But I think the more important question is, why shouldn't they? Why shouldn't they have this right to go to school? Dear sisters and brothers, today in half of the world we see rapid progress and development. However, there are many countries where millions still suffer from very old problems of war, poverty, and injustice. We still see conflicts in which innocent people lose their lives and children become orphans. We see many people becoming refugees in Syria, Gaza, and Iraq. In Afghanistan, we see families being killed in suicide attacks and bomb blasts. Many children in Africa do not have access to education because of poverty. And as I said, we still see girls who have no freedom to go to school in north of Nigeria. Many children in countries like Pakistan and India, especially Pakistan and India, are deprived of their right to education because of social taboos, or they have been forced into child marriage or into child labor. One of my very good school friends, the same age as me, who had always been a bold and confident girl, dreamed of becoming a doctor. But her dream remained a dream. At the age of 12, she was forced to get married. And then soon she had a son. She had a child when she herself was still a child, only 14. I know that she could have been a very good doctor, but she couldn't because she was a girl. Dear sisters and brothers, the so-called world of adults may understand it, but we children don't. Why is it that countries which we call strong are so powerful in creating wars, but are so weak in bringing peace? Why is it that giving guns is so easy, but giving books is so hard? Why is it that making tanks is so easy, but building schools are so hard? We are living in the modern age, and we believe that nothing is impossible. We reached the moon 45 years ago, and maybe we'll soon land on Mars. Then in this 21st century, we must be able to give every child quality education. Dear sisters and brothers, dear fellow children, we must work, not wait. Not just the politicians and the world leaders, we need to contribute. Me, you, we. It is our duty. Let us become the first generation that decides to be the last that sees empty classrooms, lost childhoods, and wasted potentials. Let this be the last time that a girl or a boy spends their childhood in a factory. Let this be the last time that a girl is forced into early child marriage. Let this be the last time that a child loses life in war. Let this be the last time that we see a child out of school. Let this end with us. Let's begin this ending together, today, right here, right now. Let's begin this ending now.
So you may be wondering what has occurred in the last moments while we went after the little wardrobe change.
I don't have.
Oh, you don't have? Well,
I don't
then
have
I'll
the
tell
information.
them. Well, here at Sunday Assembly, we like to. There we go.
This one works.
Got it?
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
We'll tell them that here at Sunday Assembly, we like to be radically inclusive. And therefore, to welcome our guests today, we decided we should dress appropriately. So we'd like to introduce William Morrison and Allie Kellogg. Together they are leading the Los Angeles chapter of the Satanic Temple. They're here to present for us today how Satan brings us closer to a more just and compassionate world. Welcome, William and Allie.
Thanks for having us.
Yes. We are from the Satanic Temple. So,
Here we go.
why Satan? We are a non-theistic religion, so that beckons the question, why did we choose Satan as our mascot? Our mission mirrors that which Lucifer undertook in the Bible, to rebel against harmful, bigoted authority that encroaches on people's personal rights and choices.
We'll show it. We don't believe in Santa Claus. But if you take the letters Santa and rearrange them, I'm just saying.
So these are the 7 tenets of our temple. One should strive to act with compassion and empathy towards all creatures in accordance with reason.
Okay. The struggle for justice is an ongoing and necessary pursuit that should prevail over laws and institutions.
One's body is inviolable, subject to one's own will alone.
The freedoms of others should be respected, including the freedom to offend. To willfully and unjustly encroach upon the freedoms of another is to forgo your own.
Beliefs should conform to our best scientific understanding of the world. We should take care never to distort scientific facts to fit our beliefs.
People are fallible. If we make a mistake, we should do our best to rectify it and resolve any harm that may have been caused.
Lastly, every tenet is a guiding principle designed to inspire nobility in action and thought. The spirit of compassion, wisdom, and justice should always prevail over the written and spoken word. So I'm going to talk about a kind of crash course history on Satan, because it's actually something most people don't know quite a bit about. So this is one of the things TST wants to highlight, that today's image and idea of Satan is one that has been bastardized by the church and the government, as well as pop culture for hundreds of years, although we see the most dramatic alterations made since as recently as the 19th century. Satan is known in the Bible as Lucifer, as an angel created by God. He witnessed God's wrath firsthand, which compelled Lucifer to question God's authority. God consequentially banished Lucifer and the other angels who joined Lucifer in challenging God and cast them out of heaven. This is where interpretations of the story deviate. Some argue that Lucifer challenged him because he is egotistical and prideful. We believe God felt threatened by having his authority questioned and reacted accordingly. There's a tremendous number of misconceptions about Satan circulated as truth. A big one is his appearance. He's often depicted as either being in the form of the Baphomet or as a red devil with a pitchfork. These ideas borrow phenotypic elements like the goat's head or wings from animal-worshipping religions like paganism that Christianity deemed an abomination. The only physical description of Lucifer in the Bible is as a snake in the Garden of Eden who provokes Eve to bite from an apple from the tree of knowledge. Although now several biblical scholars are saying that the snake was actually not Satan, it was another entity. Although Satan is reported as power-hungry, destructive, and violent, the Bible actually says quite the contrary. This is an interesting statistic to me. In the Bible, God is responsible for 2,476,633 deaths, where Satan is responsible for 4 of them, including one of the most infamous stories in the Bible about Job's son, where they were killed at the commanding order of God. He told his angels to kill these people. In the Old Testament, God controlled all of the events and was responsible for creation and destruction, good and evil, suffering and joy. This idea of dualism became confusing for many who couldn't understand how such suffering in the world could be created by an all-loving God. This confusion laid the grounds for Satanism. Hollywood has been probably the church's best friend in terms of brewing satanic anxiety. In the 1960s, horror films instilled vivid imagery and fear of the devil into the hearts of viewers, most notably films like Rosemary's Baby and The Exorcist. Fear of Satan became a lucrative endeavor, and at the same time of these 2 films' release, the Church of Satan was established. So, although we are often tied and affiliated with the Church of Satan, we have no affiliation with them whatsoever as an organization. They are completely different from us.
And Anton LaVey is not my brother.
Second cousin twice removed. So it was founded by Anton LaVey, who penned the Satanic Bible, if anyone's familiar with that book. He held weekly congregations at his infamous Black House in the Haight-Ashbury district of San Francisco, which is arguably the birthplace of American counterculture. They originally referred to themselves as the Order of the Trapezoid. He would charge $2 for people to come and hear him talk. He had these weekly congregations, and there was a day where one of his friends went up to him and said, "Hey, if you actually started an official religion, you could make a ton of money doing this." And thus, the Church of Satan was born. They amassed a huge celebrity following, which helped with their notoriety. Some of their members include Sammy Davis Jr., Jane Mansfield, Marilyn Manson, and Liberace, to name a few. So the Satanic Panic, oh my goodness. Classic. So the Satanic Panic of the 80s and 90s cultivated mass hysteria and fear of anything remotely related to Satan, paganism, or anything deemed ungodly. It was birthed through a renewed culture of xenophobia in America and encouraged total condemnation of anything non-Christian. Even subcultural elements like certain types of music and art were also condemned. On a near daily basis, crimes of any nature were blamed on Satanists, whether or not those claims had any merit. The Panic also has a large body count of its own, responsible for hundreds of deaths and false imprisonments around the world. Most notably is the West Memphis 3, if anyone's familiar with that story. There's a great couple of documentaries on that. It was 3 teenage boys in West Memphis, Arkansas, who were blamed for the murder of 3 little boys, even though there was no DNA evidence linking them to the actual crime scene or the crime. They were sort of vilified because they were outcasts in this little community. They wore all black, they were interested in paganism, they listened to Black Sabbath and Metallica, and this really echoes and mirrors the Salem witch trials that happened hundreds of years before. To me, there's no distinction between the two. I think it's just history repeating itself there. Very quickly, hell is also something, the idea of hell is something that a lot of people don't really know about. There's no mention of hell in the Bible, but there is a place that it's based off of. Called Gehenna. So in Jerusalem, in the Valley of Hinnom, there is a giant ditch called Gehenna. It's referenced in the book of Matthew and Mark, chapter 9, verse 47. It was originally used by the ancient Israelites, where they sacrificed and burnt children for their Canaanite god Molech. After a while, God said that this place was unclean and there shouldn't be any pagan practices, so they turned it into a landfill, essentially, where they burnt the city's trash. All of that smell carried into Jerusalem, and it was symbolically translated later on into this idea of hell or Gehenna. It was later translated into hell around 1200 AD.
So Satan, the ultimate rebel, I guess the backstory that Ali just gave you is really just to outline the fact that Satanism is a construct that was created by people in power, as a tool of oppression, really. So with us, we've chosen the metaphor as Satan because to us he does represent the ultimate rebel, the outsider. So we're taking a tool that was used to oppress the faithful and co-opting it and using it to promote positive change. That's what really the core of TST is about. So when we're up against those who would imagine this country is a theocracy, those who would tell us what we should or shouldn't do, what we should think, what we should do with our bodies, the moniker Satanist tends to whip our opponents into like a crazy frenzy. And, we embrace what other people fear. And what happens when we do that is it takes the power away from the people that are trying to oppress us. That's really how we stand on that.
Great. We have a video to play if someone could help us out with that.
Yeah, this is some of our actions that you might have seen on the television.
World mock me for telling you that there is a statue to Lucifer that has been erected last Saturday in Detroit, and Time magazine says it's really not that big of a deal. Let me tell you, it is a big deal. God will not be mocked on his own land by his own people. And at the same time, on Monday, they remove his words in Oklahoma in the middle of the night.
After the Supreme Court's week of high-profile decisions, Oklahoma's High Court made a stir of its own in a ruling that had a group of self-proclaimed Satanists and an ordained Baptist minister celebrating. The Oklahoma Supreme Court ruled Tuesday that the state must remove a 6-foot-tall granite monument of the Ten Commandments from its capital because it violates the state's constitutional ban against the use of public funds or property to benefit a religion.
So this is Baphomet.
This is Baphomet.
It's a pretty impressive structure. Why is it important for the Satanic Temple to have this monument at all?
It's important for us to have this monument only because there's other monuments on public grounds. If there's a single monument representing a single religious point of view, it gives the impression that there's government endorsement of a single view.
Now wait, I'm confused. Do you believe that people don't understand
Absolutely.
what you are?
Yes.
What you stand for?
Absolutely. There is deep misunderstanding about Satanism as a religion in all of its various forms because Satanism and the term satanic has been used as a political tool to demonize individuals who've rebelled against systems of authority and power.
Chief of police. He claims to be a cop, but I don't see a badge.
No badge.
Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever.
I got a copy of the Constitution in my police car. Would you like to see it?
DeCiccio says the city is trying too hard to be all-inclusive. He believes the Satanists are just trying to make a scene.
I think it's just a dumb idea. We do not legally have to do this. Just have a message that reason should come above all things, and all decisions should me, from a non-agnostic standpoint, we're not here to be offensive, we're just here to participate.
We are seeking collaborators, individuals for a visionary satanic alliance. We have to do more when the belief in archaic illusions of an ancient religion is a mandatory requirement for our elected representatives. We have to do more when our government determines our sexuality for us. We have to do more when children are denied the home of loving parents because of the genders of their partner. We have to do more when women are denied access to reproductive health care and vilified as murderers by those who like to represent them in the government. The word of God has been evoked time and time again to justify the opposition to civil rights movements, to squash women's liberation, to target medical treatment for HIV, and end same-sex marriage. That is not religious freedom.
So that gives you a good cross-section of what's been going on with TST nationally, and we have chapters all over the country now. Our LA mission, we're just getting started in LA. We're just starting this chapter out. So our core mission, firstly, is diversity. We want to, we really want to speak to and have a voice for all of the diverse ethnic landscape in Los Angeles. That's super important to us. We've accomplished that already, and it's something we just need to grow at this point. How it works, our chapter is completely democratic, so the people in our chapter are the ones who come up with the ideas for protests or things that we want to go out and take action against, and it all comes down to a democratic vote. That's how we work. One of our first major activities is that we want to infiltrate the private and public prison system in California. We want to provide outreach and support for secular prisoners. I think, as most people know, the prison system is very much run like a theocracy, and I don't really think there's a lot of options for secular prisoners. So we're going to show you another slide here, and you'll see that we're both committed to public service and individual liberty, much like yourselves. What's that? Okay. Go ahead.
So in the Detroit chapter, primarily, Vice is actually currently doing a documentary on our work with women's reproductive rights. They've done a lot of undercover work where they've gone to abortion clinics and figured out the false medical claims that they tell women who are seeking an abortion, including that all women that get abortions get breast cancer at some point in their lives.
So the Arizona City Council action, the council always starts with a prayer. So we asked to be included in that and start the council with a satanic invocation. The result of that was they opted for a moment of silence. So since then they've actually reinstated the prayer, but the gentleman Stu DeHaan that was up there, who just, by the way, passed the federal bar. The next thing will happen now is we will take them to court. It will be a First Amendment fight, and we will certainly win it.
As you saw in the video, we had the 10 Commandments removed from Oklahoma, and we put up a Baphomet statue. We also, at the Michigan State grounds, had a snaketivity scene put up in contrast to the nativity scene. It's a cross with a snake. It says, "Knowledge is power."
So just quickly, one of my favorite actions was our New Orleans chapter started to fill potholes in the road and just work on public infrastructure, and the city went and inspected their work. I guess they were doing it right. They gave them a permit to continue doing it. So we've got a bunch of Satanists fixing the roads in Louisiana.
We have Socks for Satan in St. Louis. It's just socks for homeless people. And then last weekend, some of us were in San Francisco protesting ISSTD, which is an organization of psychologists who are kind of quacks. They have ideas like that children with autism don't actually have autism. They're actually being molested by Satanists and are possessed by the demons. And they're responsible, one of the practitioners who's involved there, who I think she actually just won their Lifetime Achievement Award a few days ago, is responsible for the death of 8-year-old Jude Mira, an autistic boy. They convinced his mother that he wasn't actually autistic. He was being molested by Satanists, which was the explanation for his behavior. So, hail Satan.
So just to wrap it up really quickly, obviously we're not armchair activists. That's not our style. I guess the thing that's unique about TST is, we really do put ourselves on the line. We take risks. We risk being ostracized by our communities and also even by our families. And That's really what we're all about, or a little small snippet of it. Love to talk to you about it some more, and we are actively looking, for members in the LA chapter, so if anybody's interested, let us know. Thank you.
Thank you, William and Allie. So now we want to invite Voices of Reason back up to perform a Pink Floyd classic. We are dedicating it to the folks on the live stream, everyone joining us from England, Australia, around the US, including Alvarado, Texas. This is for you.
We may not always have people we love with us. While we appreciate those who are with us, we have a longing for those who aren't. So this song can just a little bit about that.
Great. Thank you guys very much. So now we move into actually one of my very favorite parts of the whole program that we call the assembler doing their best. And this is where a member of our community gets to come up and share a personal story about the way that he or she is making an impact in the world. So I'd like to introduce James Witker to tell us about how he's doing his best.
Good morning. How's it going?
everybody. It's interesting to see the room from this vantage point. Anyone else ever feel kind of frustrated about the world? You know, things like war, poverty, injustice, racism, but maybe feel kind of like, you know, powerless to do anything about it? I used to feel pretty frustrated following the news, and I felt kind of isolated. I think that I talked the ears off a lot of friends about religion and politics. I might still do that, actually. That at a certain point, I realized that, you know, it doesn't really do much good to bemoan and complain about stuff if I wasn't actually trying to do something. And so I kind of went against the grain. For me at the time, I sought out other people who are trying to work for change. I started showing up for stuff, asking, you know, how can I get involved? What can I do to help? This was like local and national stuff. And pretty soon, long story short, I found myself, you know, phone banking for different causes and candidates, and walking picket lines with workers who are being denied fair treatment, and showing up and speaking at some city council meetings about these issues. You know, economic justice is something that, that I pay attention to. There are a lot of people in our local economy who are really screwed over and who could use people to speak up for them. A group of us have been trying to protest the fact that in this city, as in many others, it has become routine for unarmed people of color to be shot by the police with virtually no consequences. Something I think about a good deal is climate change. Speaking of large, overwhelming problems, more you know about it, the scarier it is. So I joined a group called Citizens Climate Lobby, which meets with chapters all over the world. We meet with elected representatives to advance a plan that, build consensus for a plan that climate scientists and economists agree may be the only way to cut emissions in the short amount of time that's left to do so. There's some other things, but I got a time limit. Early on, it was through the Unitarian Universalists that I discovered this thing called humanism, a non-theistic philosophy of reason and compassion. And this made a lot of sense to me. There's an inspirational quote that I just happen to have been hearing a lot lately, which you might be familiar with. How wonderful it is that no one need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. And I think that's really true, and it's really nice. And when I hear that, I can't help but remember that the idealistic young girl who wrote that in her diary was then murdered by Nazis. I just think the world makes more sense if you don't have to believe that there's a divine plan or have faith that things will just work out. But to me, that makes it more important to do what I can. The fact that, as Carl Sagan said, there's no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves means that we're the ones who are responsible. And, you know, I feel like we live in a country where we have some freedom of speech and freedom of assembly. You know, I think we take that for granted sometimes because a lot of people don't have that. So what difference can one person really make? Fair question. I don't have grand personal accomplishments to brag about. But I can tell you what I've learned, which is that when people come together, things happen. Change can happen. In the last year, the governor of California signed a car wash worker bill, which is something that gives some disadvantaged workers a little bit more dignity, treats them a little bit more like human beings. This is something that happened because our economic justice groups all over the state worked on this and made noise about it. Minimum wage ordinances here in LA and in Santa Monica that are going to you know, lift a few families out of poverty and help fight economic inequality. Citizens Climate Lobby, we're working on it. The group has more than doubled in just the last 12 months. And there are even some Republican legislators who are having conversations about this. And these things are happening, you know, not because of what any single person does or has done, but because people care and come together and show up and won't shut up. I've learned that a worldview supported by reason and evidence is something that the world really needs more of.
But it's not, I don't think it's really enough for me. I think that it also needs to be informed by some moral courage and, yes, love and justice. Justice. This guy, posing with a goofy-looking fan, Dr. Cornel West says justice is what love looks like in public. And I think that's true whether you're a Christian or an atheist or a Muslim or whatever. Justice is what we try to work toward in this one life we know we have, because what alternative do we really have? We have to, on an increasingly populated, fragile, and interconnected pale blue dot, we have to either live together as brothers and sisters or perish as fools. I think in our culture, like our cars and our jobs and everything, it tends to sometimes make us feel isolated and disconnected. But when people come together, amazing things really can happen. And another word for people coming together is community, something which I'm looking at right now. This is a community that has already accomplished so much in building community and connecting people with service projects that help others. Last month, by the way, we did something new and different last month. A bunch of us from Sunday Assembly went to an interfaith peace march. We joined several hundred others from churches, synagogues, and mosques in marching for religious freedom and tolerance and nonviolence. And it was cool because we got to show up and say, hey, you know, we're not religious, but we do support people putting aside their differences and working for common values. And a few people were like, hey, Sunday Assembly, I might have to check that out. That sounds interesting. So, anyway, I think that this community in its own way has already changed the world, and I just wonder what more we can do together. I'm interested in hearing what you think. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, James. Thanks for sharing with us. I love the part about show up, don't shut up for justice. I love that. Okay, we're going to move into our quiet reflection. Feel free to close your eyes, get comfortable, take it all in, float downstream. You can just free your mind, and we'll have a few moments of silence.
And so now we move from our time of reflection to the time of collection. This is the part where we do the ask, because as you know, Sunday Assembly is completely volunteer-led and donor-supported. So paying for the room, paying for the coffee, paying for the website, paying for the insurance in case you're raptured up out of your seats and your family wants to collect, that is all coming from the community. So.
Yeah. We'd particularly like to thank our repeat donors. These are the wonderful people with the green name tags. If you are green with envy about these green name tags, you can have one too. What you want to do is you help keep our assemblies coming. You can start a membership in the donate section of the sundayassembly.org website. sundayassemblyla.org, excuse me.
So, the Nobel laureate physicist Steven Weinberg once remarked, "The more the universe seems comprehensible, the more it also seems pointless." In such a universe, it's up to each of us to make a point, or to find meaning, or to create meaning where none exists in and of itself. And the choice of how we create that meaning is literally as vast as that pointless universe. Today we learned from William and Allie in the Satanic Temple about how they make a point of making a more just and compassionate world through their activism and their political antics. For others, it's working for social and environmental justice, like James does when he's doing his best. Or Malala Yousafzai, who's fighting for the right of access to education for girls around the world. For me, a big part of creating meaning the last couple of years has been the foundation of Sunday Assembly LA. I've watched as many members of our community have stepped up and shown us how to live better, I've been impressed by how we've reached out to those in need to help often. And I've watched our guest speakers come up and teach all of us how to wonder more. And so Sunday Assembly is really one of the things that I've done in my life that I'm most proud of. But when we started this organization, we always wanted it to be something that was greater than the sum of its parts, something where none of us was irreplaceable, something where we were all plug and play. So now it's come time to test that model. So I'd like to share with the community that for a variety of reasons, I've decided I need to step back from my role as co-director of Sunday Assembly Los Angeles, and I'm going to leave the executive functioning to somebody who's become a very close friend and very capable partner, Amy Boyle. And I'd also like to invite anybody who would like to create some meaning by helping out to organize it. This is a great opportunity to step up to the next generation of leadership. But this is not to say that I'm leaving Sunday Assembly LA by any stretch of the imagination. I'm still going to be very involved in organizing and taking on different roles and responsibilities here locally. I'm going to be working with the larger Sunday Assembly network and also some other organizations, because this is the way that I'm choosing to make a more just and compassionate world. So looking out at this audience today, I just wanted to say thank you for all the meaning being a part of Sunday Assembly LA has brought to my life. Working with Amy and the rest of the organizing team, the speakers, and the amazing musicians that we've had over the last couple of years, and especially with all of you in this community, has been one of the most profound experiences of my life. So I just wanted to say thank you, and I'll see you at the Oinkster. Some closing announcements, perhaps?
For sure. We're going to finish it off with one last song from Voices of Reason, but just a few announcements before we bring them back to the stage.
This month, our Sunday social will be at Kidspace Children's Museum in Pasadena. That'll be next Sunday the 17th from 2 to 5 p.m. Please join us for a fun family event, Children Not Required.
That's good. That sounds like so much fun. Also, while you're on the website, please check out our other great Live Better and Help Often events, including game nights, discussion groups, opportunities to serve the homeless in our community, tutoring kids, and more.
All available at sundayassemblyla.org, right?
Thank you.
Okay, good. One thing we definitely want you to know about is the Reason Rally in Washington, D.C. on June 4th. There will be 30 to 50,000 humanists, free thinkers, and non-believers expected on the National Mall that day. And Sunday Assembly is there as a sponsoring organization. We've got a crowdfunding campaign going on. We're going to be making some Sunday Assembly branded materials to be able to hand out on the mall, some really cool paper fans because it's going to be really hot and humid in Washington, and some brochures to share with that 30 to 50,000 people. So even if you can't join us in Washington, you'd like to chip in a couple of bucks, there's a GoFundMe campaign going on right now. We're trying to raise $5,000. We are about 20% of the way there, so if you want to kick in $5 or $50 or $500, that would be great.
Okay, I'm going to go off script again,
Okay.
because I know you love that, to do a little more propaganda and say, hey, do you know we also tweet about these things? We also have an Instagram. Hasn't come up yet. We are at Sunday Assembla. There's no Y, couldn't fit it, on Twitter. And then we are Sunday_Assembly_LA. Sean does a great job on Instagram, so just FYI, you can hear about those things there too. April 30th is the Orange County Free Thought Conference, featuring several speakers you've seen here at Sunday Assembly. The director of the conference is Bruce Gleason, who is also a big part of our video team. And Bruce has flyers back at the video table with all the information, plus you can find about it on our website.
So our next assembly is Sunday, May 8th. Yes, that's Mother's Day. And we'll be featuring Robert Egger from the DC Kitchen and LA Kitchen and his work to alleviate hunger in our community and the power of food and community. We'll also be having a special surprise to honor moms of Sunday Assembly. There's a hint down there in the lower right corner. So please join us, bring your moms and bring your kids.
Later that same day, Sunday Assembly is co-hosting with CFI a special event with Phil Ferguson, owner of SkepticMoney.com, for an evening on evidence-based investing and critical thinking about your finances. Is there a PowerPoint? Yeah, there we go. Talk about that on the Twitter and the Instagram too.
All right, we're really getting down to the end here. So we're going to ask you to stick around for cake and coffee and conversation after the assembly, but mostly we want you to stick around for Sunday Assembly Line Service Project. a kid-friendly service project that you are welcome to join, whether or not you've actually signed up as a volunteer. So right after our last song, we're going to take a couple of minutes to clear the chairs, get yourself a snack, something to drink. Amy will be calling people forward, and we'll be getting rolling on that. It's going to take about an hour to put together 300 personal care kits that will be distributed to the homeless here in Los Angeles.
Finally, we want to thank Sophia, William, Allie, James, our video and audio team, and all of our volunteers for being a part of another great assembly. And of course, the Voices of Reason Choir, who are coming up now to sing their final song.
A